Good morning. My name is Corey Carlson, Planning Operations Trainee for Southwest Team 3. So I'm going to give you the update today. I'm going to go into a little bit more specific detail today. I'll start off on what I'm calling the thumb area. So I've used a marker to help reference some of the areas where we have crews and equipment and resources working. This stuff doesn't mean this is contained by any means. It's easier for me to show you where we have crews and stuff working. So on the thumb, if you can see these lines, we have a mixture of dozer line and hand crews working in this area yesterday and today. We also, on this northwest corner, the same thing, a mixture of hand crews, dozer line in there. So we're continuing to work to try to close these gaps, but pretty significant topography, pretty significant terrain, and it's just going to take a lot of time. So as we come around the northeast corner, we're continuing to work this way. This was our access point, so that's why naturally we started there. But we're going to continue to work this, and we're going to continue to try to work this around. The Kilpecker line is still being worked. They have about 1.25 miles left, but it's about 3 days worth of work, even though it's not all that much in distance, but just the terrain features. So down in the Kilpecker area, things are looking really good around this 14 corridor as it comes out of the Kinnickinnick. I apologize. So the Kinnickinnick, this Highway 14 corridor, all the way through here, it's looking really good. There is engines in there working. There's sprinklers, pumps, hose, the full complement of structure triage type stuff is in there. So what we are starting in today is just coming outside of Kinnickinnick. We're starting to do some direct line on this fire's edge right here. So we've moved a crew over there, and we're going to continue to come out of Kinnickinnick and try to wrap around some of this stuff and tie it in. So that is occurring today. A lot of work still to do here, but a lot of good work is done. Like I said, the 14 corridor has been active, or not, fire activity hasn't been active, but we've had a lot of engines, a lot of work. Even through the snow, these guys were continuing to mop up in and around the Highway 14 corridor. So that work is just going to continue. Once we get to here to DP 375, yesterday and today, we've had crews work this entire edge all the way around where it comes in. The Pingree Park Road comes in from 14. We've picked up that. We've worked it all the way down and around towards this Jack's Gulch camp. So this has all been worked yesterday. It'll all get worked today. And basically what they're doing is they're just putting out hot spots. If they need to put in direct fire line construction, they're doing that. But really just trying to secure this edge. And again, this is something that day after day we'll continue to go back and check for additional hot spots, take care of that, and put in additional direct line where needed. We do have a little bit of gap from here down to here in the Buckhorn area. This is about 5 to 6 miles worth of work. It's going to take several days for the crews to get that, but the intent and the goal is to close that gap. We still have stuff working along the Pingree Park Road, securing some stuff there with engines, crews, etc. So here at DP 430, the Buckhorn area, we've picked up off this road, the Buckhorn Road, and we have crews working north to try to close that gap, and we also have crews working this south flank all the way towards Comanche Reservoir. About 60 people in this section right here working. And like I've shown on the map, this has all been touched. It's all been hot spotted, and they'll continue to do that and continue to move west kind of towards this X. West of this X, it's almost completely inaccessible. We've only been able to monitor this by helicopter and UAS. So we've got some pretty good UAS pictures and video of this country, and it is almost completely inaccessible. So we're still working on trying to figure out how to block this off if anything wanted to move out of here. Let's see. In the Crystal Lakes, Red Feather, Glacier View, and some of these surrounding communities, full-on structure protection has measures have gone into place. Dozer line has gone in around the communities on the forest. Crews continue to work in there and prioritize values at risk, do assessments, structure assessments. All that work will continue. And when I talk about structure assessments, it's a program we have where we just take a lot of information on the fuels in and around the structures, the composition of the structure. Does it have a wood shake shingle? Does it have asphalt shingles, tile? All those things go in. All those considerations go into our structure assessments to help us determine, basically how we're going to triage those structures. Are they defendable? What kind of additional measures we need to take? Do they need sprinkler systems? Are they standalone? Some of the mitigation, the hazardous fuel mitigation that's been done around structures individually, those lend themselves to needing less work. So, as you can imagine, with the amount of structures in these areas, that stuff just takes time to really go through each individual structure and determine what kind of work each one's going to take, and then just kind of base it on where we think potentially the fire could hit first. So that work will continue ongoing for a long time. It's an ongoing situation. We'll reevaluate stuff when we finish, and then we'll continue to move east. So as folks finish in Glacier View, they'll continue to move east to the communities out here. We just want to focus on stuff that would be potentially impacted first and really get that stuff dialed in. Down here in Branch 3, the fire that's come on the park, it's got some heat in there. We flew some helicopter stuff in there. There are some smokes in there. There's still activity even with all the snow. There is still activity. So we're continuing. We're meeting over in Estes Park today. We have some operations folks meeting there. They're going to get together with Estes Park folks, Glen Haven folks, all these communities and surrounding communities. They're going to have a meeting with some of the fire chiefs, some of the city officials, and really talk about our proposed actions in here. So we've spent the last week in here assessing these things, and now we're going to draw our proposed actions on a map. And once we do that, we can begin implementing any sort of structure protection measures that we need to do in here. Hopefully I got you a little more detail today on what's going on in and around the fire. Like I said, there's a lot of work being done. There's a lot of hot spotting and direct line construction in here. This stuff isn't contained. The only containment we have on this fire is the 4% over here. And we continue to work these areas as well, just not as, this stuff is just inaccessible. This stuff along the Long Draw Road is being worked as we speak, but we just want to work it a little bit more before we start showing some of these lines on the map. So, the goal is to kind of piece these things together as we can get into them, and eventually, when things are looking good, we'll show containment on them. Just to put this fire in perspective, I talk every day about this map. It looks great on a flat map, but this is super challenging country, super big country. It's the Rocky Mountains, and the total fire perimeter around this whole fire, we mapped it out yesterday. It's 237 miles. So to put that in perspective, that's a ton of ground, and none of this is flat, and some of this stuff we can't even get people walking in it. So 237 miles of fire perimeter. We think that there's probably about 80 to 100 miles of actual line construction that needs to go in some of these priority areas to secure this. And then there'll be areas that just we won't be able to put people in there because of safety concerns. There's no way to get folks out of these areas if they were to get hurt, and we're just not going to put people in areas like that. So with that, end of report. Thanks.